Good evening and welcome once again to Caribbean Feedback, where we have backyard conversations, where we discuss issues that affect our people, and hopefully we can find some solutions as we bring our minds, our hearts together, and hopefully one day our dollars. Sitting here with us this evening are the esteemed members of our panel and our resident doctor, as I like to refer to her. Could you all please begin by introducing yourselves and telling our viewing and listening audience who you are and what you do, starting off with Karen.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Karen Forrester. I'm with BantuKreations. BantuKreations offers unique, highly I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nervous tonight because of the topic. We offer African inspired, lightweight, handcrafted, one of a kind, beautiful earrings, gorgeous colors. And let me say again, lightweight. Don't let the size fool you. Back to you, Mr.
Mr.
Curtis.
Archer.
Greetings!
Salutations.
Righteousness, righteousness, man, righteousness. I am happy to be here tonight to rock with. It is our ninth episode. So next week is going to be episode number
10.
That's right.
I can count.
I thought I'd done with preschool. This is
Well, I hail from Muzilog.com, where we say that music, entertainment, and culture lives. And we cover all types of different artists, different genres, different music. We just have a lot of stuff going on over there. So when you have a chance, don't do it right now because the show is live right now. But when you have a chance, go to Muzilog.com and you'll get to see some of the latest artists that we've been working with. And we have someone who is saying good night really quick here. Good night, Sherry Ann. Thanks for tuning in. And the rest of you who are looking on live, you can jump on the chat and say hello and so on. And the week before, I had a book that I told you guys that I wrote. And then last week, I didn't put up the book because I sold that one. However, in the
Did you say you said you sold it or you stole that one? It sounded like you said stole. Oh, you
I
sold it. Okay.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
I thought
I
you
sold it. But we could rhyme it with stole because there was one that I sent out and it came back to me in an envelope. So it didn't get to the destination. So I stole that one, and now I can actually show it to you guys tonight. The Hybrid Executive. This is a very valuable copy right now. So when you guys get a chance, go online and visit thehybridexecutive.com. I'm the proud author of the book, The New Terminology and Responsibilities of Today's Indie Artists. Back to you, Mr. Curtis Henry.
Thank you so much, Mr. Archer. Now I'd like to take it over to our resident doctor, as I refer to her, Dr. Judith Barnes. Please tell us who you are and, I don't know, what do you do?
First of all, greetings from Jah to all.
Greetings.
Hi. What are you doing? Oh gosh, what are you doing?
Go ahead, do the
She said all ragamuffins. All right.
That's one of my favorite songs. Anyway,
You knocked some
I
off
am.
the table.
Say that again.
I said you knocked some off the table with that. Go ahead.
It was not my intention. Where did he go?
He'll be back. Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead,
Okay.
Doctor.
I am. My name is Judith Barnes. I'm going to be very professional with this now, since I'm always joking around. I earned a doctorate degree in Christian counseling and religious knowledge, it's called. I am a mental health therapist. I've worked in the prison system in South Florida as a therapist. I have worked in Georgia as a therapist. I presently work as a paraprofessional in the school system in Gwinnett County in Georgia. and I am a new artist, painting, that is, which I began last year. And besides being a mother and a child of God, that's my newest great thing, is that I actually can paint and put something on a canvas and you know what it is when you look at it. You'll say, what's that? And I have a book, and the book is titled, He Whispered to Me, You Can Paint Your Own Paintings, you know. I believed him. I believed him. Obedience is better than sacrifice. And actually, it's a book of some of my paintings. And it's on lulu.com. And so that's the front of it, and that's the back of it.
All
And
right, all right.
my son did all the graphics for me. And so he did a great job. So that's that. I'm also trained radio and television broadcaster. I went to school with the esteemed Mr. Curtis Henry back in New York in the days when we were about 15 years old, right, Curtis?
Yes, somewhere around there.
And that's about it. There are other things, but it's okay.
But the strange part, Dr. Judith, the title of your book there, He Whispered to Me. How come when I whispered to you over 30 years ago, you told me to get away from you? I don't.
Well, you know, I should qualify who he is. He is the Holy Spirit. And you're a spirit, but you're not exactly holy. Anyway.
Okay. Moving right along. As stated, my name is Curtis Henry. I am a speaker. I am a communicator. I like to consider myself a filmmaker. All that encompassed therein. I am the host and producer of Caribbean Chat, where we provide a platform where we celebrate the history and culture of Caribbean people in entertainment, the arts, politics, sports, education, and economics. And we explore the many profound contributions they have made to society. So I urge you to look us up on YouTube at Caribbean Chat. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and like the videos as you go along. Today on Caribbean Feedback, we are discussing colorism to Black love.
I'm sorry, sir. May I interrupt you for a moment? I'm very sorry. I just wanted to know that I followed directions and I subscribed and I hit the button. I liked. I did everything more than once. So I just want you to know that I followed through.
I'll give you some other instructions as to never interrupt me again when I'm speaking, and I hope you follow through that one.
I'm done.
I think it's because I'm dark skinned you do that, but we're gonna get into that. Yeah, colorism at its finest.
Oh no.
So as I was saying, last week's show was entitled Colorism. This week we intend to find solutions. So the show this week is named Colorism to Black Love. How do we move beyond those things that are affecting us? Last week, we had a rather in-depth conversation on issues relating to colorism, how it has affected us as individuals, and how it is destroying not just the self-esteem of African people in the diaspora, but Africans in the Americas, and how it's also destroying lives. Tonight, we aim to discuss the toxic effects of skin bleaching. Now, I know that each man has to take responsibility for his own life, but colorism, the effects of colorism, it causes this mental breakdown in society that someone just says that I don't want to be black anymore. Karen, please shed some light on the numbers of countries in Africa that are affected by skin bleaching.
The numbers of countries primarily affected: Nigeria, where the World Health Organization documented recently that 77% of Nigerians, primarily women, are using skin bleaching products.
Could you repeat that number for me, please?
77% of people in Nigeria are using skin bleaching products. In Togo, 59%. In South Africa, about 35%. In Mali, about 25%. There was a University of Cape Town study done in South Africa where it said 1 in 3 women are bleaching their skin. Now, when we decided to discuss this. When we started discussing this, I kept on focusing on Jamaica because I kept on hearing about Jamaica and other Caribbean islands. I had no clue until about 6 months ago just how widespread this issue was. And I'm thinking that other people are in the same bucket that I am in or was in. I had no idea that on the continent of Africa, where I thought people were proudest of who they were, the skin they were born in, that they actually hated themselves or considered themselves less than somebody who was white. But
Mm.
goes to show years of conditioning, years of abuse, the abused start to feel, to believe. I can't find a decent word. Sorry, Dr. Judith. I can't find a decent. People actually start to believe the crap that has been spread to them for so many years. To not actually appreciate who you are, how you look, and to try to actively change it. They're not only not it's not just adults. Women are doing it to their young 6, 7, 8-year-old children, putting on these creams, lotions. This is ridiculous. If this was happening anywhere else other than in countries with predominantly people of color, it would have been considered a pandemic and it would have been cracked down a long time ago. And that's my issue with this.
Mm.
So are there any regulations on these companies that put out these products, even though health
There,
organizations are aware that it's causing all of this harm?
there are regulations. There are certain chemicals, which we'll discuss in greater detail. I don't know if you're prepared to do that at this moment. Certain products, certain chemicals like hydroquinone, which is toxic, literally kills the kidney, is linked to kidney cancer, liver cancer. Those items were, say, banned in South Africa back in 2001. 15, 16 years later, they've been banned in other areas, other countries in Africa. But they find substitutes to hydroquinone. They have mercury, they have steroids. There's so many toxic agents that are killing people. And they're not, because it's such a profitable industry, the legal sector and the black market. It's a projected be 30 earn something like $31.2 billion industry by 2024. So there is really no motivation on the part of your big companies here in the US or the black marketing industry in those countries to change anything. They're making huge amounts of money. So why should they make any changes? Why should they try to save their own people's lives?
They meaning whom?
The government in these individual countries. Yes, they have banned what the World Health has indicated that they need to get rid of, but there are so many other substituted chemicals equally harmful that they haven't touched. So these products are still on the market here in on the continent, in the Caribbean. You know, it's still a very present phenomenon.
Did we do a like a research in reference to the the um, in terms of the industry, what sort of money they make annually on these products? Is it
As
a
I
billion
said, by
dollars?
2024, they estimate that the skin bleaching, just skin lightening, skin bleaching. To me, lightening is just a cute name. Skin
Mm.
bleaching products will earn the companies will earn upward of 32 billion dollars.
That's with a
31.2,
B.
excuse me.
That's with a B. Billion.
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 This is a
Billion.
$1 billion.
So why should they stop when they're making so much money? But we finding this out, realizing what people are willing to do to their own bodies as adults, if you are aware, you're an informed consumer, I have no problem with your making decisions for yourself. But they're actually doing it to children. I have huge issues. Children, adolescents, however you want to put it. They're doing it as young as 6 years old, is what I read about. That's absurd. And these
But
chemicals are way too toxic to continue using them over long term. There is certainty of kidney failure. Liver cancers have been linked to it. There's all types of skin conditions. There's a lot of the medications involved are like sulfur. It burns up the skin. A lot of them go around looking blotchy all over. They have pretty little medical names for them, but it's killing them.
Mm.
What do we do? Sit back and do nothing? I don't agree with that. Because we're impacted here, but we have so much access. We have so much to education, to information. They don't have that same access. So I would love to for us to make some difference somewhere.
like I said in the beginning, a lot of us, or a lot of people may say that every man is responsible for his own destiny. You can't
Yeah.
tell a next man how to wear him pants. So these are individual choices that people make. But so many times we sit back as individuals, we sit back as communities, we sit back as a people and say, well, that's not me. That's not my family. It doesn't affect me as an individual. So why should I worry myself about it? Is there any chance of this making a full circle and coming right back home to affect us?
It is already affecting us. As I said, when we first looked at it, I personally thought, oh, people in the Caribbean, oh, they're silly, trying to be like the Westerners and, bleaching their skin and dying, all type of things that they just mirror everything that they see in the US. But it's all over. One thing that what I wanted to for this platform, we're focusing on people of the Caribbean and the continent of Africa. But people all over the world are using the same types of chemicals and are being harmed. I'm talking about in Arab countries. I'm talking about in Asia. The amount of women. Oh my goodness, what is that? The amount of women being affected using skin bleaching products in Asia is estimated about 40%. Whereas, can we hear such nonsense and not do anything about it?
So does anyone know of any really dark-skinned Asian people? I mean, overall they are within that same hue. So you're telling me that right now that not even that is good enough for them, that they still want to lighten it?
Exactly. They have the mentality that the lighter you can be, almost like a translucent quality to their skin. That is highly valued in their cultures. And I don't just say it for one country. It's across the board. It's across the continent.
Some Asians are dark, you know,
Mhm.
as our East Indian cousins as well. They do have those with that are dark hue, and
Hmm.
sometimes they may want to do a little bit of lightening.
And they tend to be outcasted, just like they are in other countries. The darker skinned people, they're
Okay,
outcasted from the family and in the communities.
all respect due to our other panelists who have just joined us.
Who
In
snuck
Trinidad,
in?
we discussed this before, sayings. In Trinidad, we have a saying, anytime is Trinidad time. And as Trinis, we tend to show up late to events. But sir,
Mm-mm.
you are Guyanese and you should be setting a better example.
Not acceptable at
Where
all.
have you been?
If I could have
Why
called you,
did
I'd have
you,
called you, sister. Oh,
why did you
I,
show up late to the party, sir?
well, I was detained by the Hillsborough County Police Department.
oh gosh. What?
It fits right into our conversation here. Um, Apparently, I'm not supposed to drive a Jaguar, and the
Uh-oh.
police had seen my daughter in the car and decided that I stole my own car from my daughter.
Okay.
So, and then they decided that I must be running some sort of drug ring. What do I do for a living? So I was detained 25, 30 minutes,
Oh wow.
enjoying myself as they walked around the car with their hands on a gun. And I finally asked for a supervisor, which they didn't want to do. And they let me go, telling me they're going to be watching me.
So even with the presence of your daughter,
she was not there.
Or she wasn't there at the point in time.
They had seen her driving my car and decided it belonged to she. Even though it's my name on the registration. You understand?
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me even with your light complexion, you still didn't get a bite?
My light complexion was very helpful this evening.
They didn't see the color of your eyes or nothing, man.
It was
That
all
doesn't
very
count.
helpful this evening.
Eye color doesn't count, right?
No. Mm-hmm.
If we don't laugh about it, we cry. That's right. Gosh.
I'm vexed.
Me no say vex.
And
Me know your personality.
they asked
Well,
me,
like you said,
we
it
got
ties
into the car. I said,
into.
yes. You know?
It does tie into it. Yes, it does. So you're right on time. You had that story ready. Dr. Judith, step in. Don't be quiet. Step in. But you're right on time.
Judith mouthful. Judith mouthful. Eating in the background.
Nobody with me tonight.
Don't talk and choke.
Oh gosh.
So as we move from the continent of Africa, I'd like to bring it closer to home. And when I say home, not our individual respective homes, but here in the US.
Okay.
Is colorism prevalent here in the US? Mark, you just testified something that happened as recently as 1 hour ago. Pick up on that conversation for me. Is colorism present here in the US?
It is present beyond belief. There was a caste system here. Historically, there's always been a caste system, and it's based on color. Color, hair, eye color, nose, lips, etc. And that caste system still exists. It still exists. It exists as much amongst us as white people, because they take as much notice, if not more, than we do. Have you ever heard, perhaps even a white friend say, well, he's not really black, he's sort of black.
Haven't heard that.
He's sort of black. And what's not black about him? Well, his nose or his mannerisms, the way he speaks.
The way he speaks, I've heard that.
I've heard the one. He's not they don't say it, but he's not as ghetto as the rest of you all, because somehow they try to fit in and speak with a certain flair, and somehow they think that is going to get them by, because they blend in, and they sort of have this chameleon approach where they adopt the mannerisms of their white friends, and somehow they tend to believe that somehow now they blend in to that group. But before I bring Dr. Judith in on this, as you said that there was a young man on my job, and I made a joke with him one day. I was using some chemicals, and I said to him, he asked me what it was, and I said, oh, this, you spray it and you can become black for a day. And you get all the gifts that black people come with. You can run fast, you can dunk a basketball, and you have that swag, and you have all of that. I said, try it out just for a day. He laughed. He said, no, man, no, I'm good. So even though he could get all the benefits of a black person, all the gifts and talents of a black person, he wasn't willing to give up his whiteness, not for one day. But yet still, we as individuals, we want to give up our entire identity to pretend to be someone else. Dr. Judith, tell me something. I've noticed over the years that some racists, I'll say some, or no, all, I'm saying racist whites within government and within organizations, they use intelligent blacks to control black communities. This is something I've noticed from way back in the 60s, and it probably has been going on before that. Could you enlighten us some on that particular subject?
I don't know how much I can enlighten you. After all, I'm dark. So, but anyway,
you're nuts.
Anyway, seriously, listen. part of it, I would like for us to start thinking some of the things that we're saying here. I don't know if we recognize that some of the things that we're saying here is just general human behavior. I think Mark kind of alluded to it. There are things that we do in the world as human beings to get along, whether it's with our family members or co-workers, whatever. So some of this is not necessarily color. It's very noticeable color for us because racism, as a matter of fact, I think racism is getting reintroduced into America at a higher level now. It's like it's been re-energized by the forces, and we know the forces that are around us. But so some of it is just general human behavior. We want to be with the in group. We want to be with the people that are popular. We want to be with tapenaris, as they say back home. Most human beings want to be with the ruling whatever, whether it's the ruling party, whatever. In this country, the ruling color, and all over the world, really, the ruling color is white. So some of it, I think, is just that. But some of it is because of how, and I can't tell you the date and the time. All I can say is that I grew up knowing or hearing that, and I think you said it last week, Curtis, is that, I think you said it, that if you're brown, stick around. If you're black, step back. If you're white, you're all right. That has been around forever. The problem with all of this is us. People can tell us anything 24 hours a day. The question that I have in all of this is, when do we choose to stop behaving like what we're told we are? When do we look at ourselves and say, okay, I've been told this, my grandparents was told this. Why am I still carrying on the information that was given to my grandparents? Why am I still carrying on by what the white folks told me about me? So that's my problem with all of this. The other thing that you talk about enlightenment or whatever, I can't enlighten about this. I can only kind of repeat and regurgitate what has been said before. Here in Georgia, racism is palpable. I just don't pay any attention to it. I mean, and that's my personal, that's the way I operate. I see it, I tell white people about themselves, not in a nasty way, but I talk very openly. You know, I've had a group of white women that I work with, and I've told them, I said, you've got to understand that where I come from up here, not necessarily geographically, where I come from up here is that there's stupid white people and there's stupid black people. And they're nice white people and they're nice black people. So what happens is that when you talk that directly to them, almost every day I talk about race in the classroom where I work, and everybody gets nervous, including the black woman that's in there. But she's a high yellow Jamaican, and she's been trying to pass. And the problem with that is that she is high yellow, and white folks, let me tell you who white folks like. They like folks like me. You know why? I am so straight open with them. They don't have to worry. They know I'm going to tell them exactly what I have to tell them. And the key here is I'm not ashamed of being black. I can let my hair grow out like this. I can let it grow long if I want to. I can chop it off and have it the way I have it now. And I'm comfortable with myself. And I keep saying it over. I'm listening to Karen give the statistics. And I'm saying to myself, how are we going to stop this? How can we stop this? Can we have meetings? Can we have rallies? What can we do? And the truth of the matter, it always goes back to the same thing for me as an individual. Until we decide that something is wrong. You know, I agree with you. The children, it's hateful that you bring children into this confusion. Mm-hmm. What you said earlier about the children, Karen. It's sad. Okay. But how do we stop it? My thing is that I keep saying to people, I can sit and I can talk all this stuff and I can, sound really impressive and everything and get off this medium here and go do a whole bunch of stupid things that proves what Karen is saying is true. So the reality is, when do we start looking at ourselves and saying, what I'm doing is stupid? What's wrong with this? And again and again, and I say, when we have to look at ourselves as individuals. We have to look at I heard recently this little boy in Jamaica killed himself. I don't know what color he was. I didn't get to see that. But a friend of mine in Florida told me this little boy killed himself recently, or a couple of years ago. He left a letter for the mother and the auntie, I think. And basically he said, I can't take it anymore. This like a child baby, 12 years old. He hung himself in Jamaica. I bet he was light skinned. I guarantee he was light skinned. And he hung himself. He said, I can't take the bad treatment anymore. He said, I don't know what to do. So the thing is, Karen, I feel for you because you have the facts. You have the numbers. And I understand the question that you're asking. But the only enlightenment that I can give is what I give to people all the time. Individually, what will I do?
I don't want to give the impression.
One second. The question was more of how the whites use intelligence and sometimes
I'm sorry. I got sidetracked on that. Listen. I'm going to say this because I believe it's true. We pay too much attention to white people. We pay too much attention to what their impressions are, what their thoughts are. This is my personal opinion, okay? We pay too much attention to them. They will always set us up. They will always try to manipulate us. Why? The question we must ask ourselves is why? They set us up because they know our value more than we know ourselves. White folks know that we are power to be dealt with, that we are powerful just by nature, just by the way we are made. Listen, melanin, it has made us powerful, but we don't know that. So, when I first came to America, you know what the whites in New York said to me? Oh, you're so brilliant. You're so bright. Oh, read for me. I love your sing-song accent. And what the African Americans in the class would get upset with me. Now, that was the way to keep us divided. And they would tell you, well, Jamaicans are not really black. Some of the crap like what Mark was saying, they'll say those things. Jamaica's not really black. And, some of us, we love to act, oh, yes, Jamaicans, we are the best and we're special. And that's how Jamaicans like to be. So the white person in America, especially in New York in those days, knew exactly what to tell us. Because, listen, you ever see a West Indian store as a Jamaican and West Indian? You ever seen have you ever seen that?
I never seen that one before.
Jamaican and West Indian foods. So there's a certain superiority that I think we carry, not me, that we carry, that the white man has used that. And he's used it against the African American and used West Indians. You tell Jamaicans in Florida that when a policeman stops them, they don't know they're Jamaican, they just know they're black. So in terms of what white people can do with us, they will always divide us, and they know exactly how to do it. They will tell one that they're better than the other.
I just want to interject. I don't want to give the impression that there aren't a lot of people throughout the continent and other areas that aren't actively trying to make changes for the better. A group of Somali American women took on Amazon and forced Amazon. Now, look at how big Amazon is. Forced Amazon to remove some 15 skin bleaching mercury skin bleaching products with mercury. They won that. There are filmmakers in Nigeria, in Ghana, who are trying to educate. So there are a lot of people. If only we could get together and effectively communicate. We certainly have the means to try to educate. Once you educate them and they say, okay, I'm still going to continue this because I still believe this, okay, go ahead. A lot of them are not educated about the harm they're doing to themselves.
But Karen,
and that's where I have problems.
Let me say this. The problem that I keep having with all of this is we're always trying to tell white people, and we're always trying to tell white people, get that off the market. When in God's name do we stop buying the stuff? I mean, seriously, when do we get to the place where we stop? Nobody forces you to go in the store. In Brooklyn, years ago when I lived in New York, it was a bunch of Jamaicans. They were angry at the Asians in the Brooklyn community where they lived. You know why they were angry? Oh, when we go in there and spend our money and we get change and I put it on the counter, I won't put it in my hand. What I wanted to ask them, and what I will ask anybody today, how many West Indian stores did you pass by to go to that Asian store? How many Jamaican stores or West Indian stores did you pass to go into that store where the Asian man is, you say he's disrespecting you? My oldest brother is an attorney in New York. And when he first started 40 years ago, the Jamaicans would come to him, Mr. Barnes, I want you to do this and da 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 da. And he would tell them it's $75, $75, which is nothing even back then for consultation. And they'll tell him, no, Mr. Barnes, that's too much, man. And they go downtown to a man named Mr. Scheinfeld that charge him $300. And they pay him. When Mr. Scheinfeld take the money and they're not getting what they want, they come back to him. So the problem is, when do we get tired of this? Listen, if I go into a store where there's a West Indian or a white person, black or whatever, own it, and if they offend me, and offense is a very tricky word, because I'm not easily offended. Because most people not even looking at you. They don't see you. They're in their own world. So I don't get easily offended. But if somebody offends me significantly enough, I will not go back in that store. But we're not willing to boycott. We're not in Georgia. When I first moved here, they wanted to stop. They wanted to boycott the gas companies. You know what they did? They said, okay, Thursday, black people not going to buy any gas. You know what those idiots did? Wednesday night, they were done pack up with our bunch of gas. We're crazy. You want to hold them. When I was in Florida, I asked the same thing, because I used to do some community things. And I'm saying, we can shut down America. Look at the jobs that we have. Basically, we run the hospitals, the nursing homes. A lot of the companies in America, blacks run it on one level or the other. Basic level that is needed. Decide, come together, and one day we shut down America. We have got to understand that we have got to feel our power. We can't expect them to feel it for us. So
let me interject something right here. Let me interject this. The companies, the largest companies that have made products like this have traditionally been black. Okay.
Thank you.
The first hair straightening product was Madam C.J. Walker. He's the first black billionaire in this country. Not millionaire, billionaire.
Billionaire.
You have Posner. You have Stay Free Curl. These are all black. The one comes in a yellow bottle. I see so much of the mess. These are all black companies. Okay, so the way to stop it is to stop the profit. How do you stop the profit? Well, look, Eldridge Cleaver said it, revolution. Because as long as we are in the position we're in, it's not going to change. There are going to be people who are going to conform. They're going to try to get by. They're going to say, look, if Mr. Charlie wants my hair straight and nice and my skin light, I'm going to make my skin light, my hair straight and nice, because I want to make that little bit of money. I want to buy a nice house in Fort Lauderdale. One of the nice, I want to be in a nice place, I don't want to live in the pork and beans in Liberty City. You understand what I'm saying? So hair straightener, bleaching cream, whatever you got to do, as long as that is what our economic construct is, this is going to happen. That's really what has to change.
But we also need to pull our resource. Sorry. We also need to pull our resource.
Go ahead, Karen.
We need to pool our resources. Now that we don't have the same excuses that we had 40 years ago, 50 years ago, of not being able to communicate with each other quickly, effectively, and create some type of unity. I know historically, Black people don't get together, but we have to change that. We can't continue on this endless road. of utilizing these products that we know are killing us.
Mhm.
So, what do we do to pool our resources with people on the continent, people in the different Caribbean islands, and the US? We were once one. We may never be that again, but we can get pretty close with being able to talk to each other.
We
When I
need to
hear you
stop.
speak,
Karen,
I,
stop telling
I
the lie. Karen, stop telling that lie about us not getting together. We get together for parties. We get together for barbecues, and we get together for funerals.
Yep.
More than
mhm.
we do, more than we do family reunions, we get together for funerals. We as black people will travel from England, Canada, America, all the way to
A
to the
party.
to bury somebody,
Mhm.
but you won't
Mm.
cross the street to go look for your own family. But we take vacation and take a plane ticket to come for the funeral. So yeah, we do get together, but we need to prioritize the events that we come together for. Like this, we could be holding idle conversations on the phone, as many of us do, but we
This is
decided,
important.
yeah,
This
this
is
is important.
important.
We get together to discuss serious issues and hopefully garner some type of an audience who can put their input into this, and hopefully that can spread outward and we do
And
effect.
affect change.
But let me ask something: with the current climate here in the United States, how do we as people of color continue to persevere in our efforts to undo the legacy which produced the self-hatred? Anyone please pick up on that.
Woo!
I
Woo!
when
As we're thinking
Karen was
on that,
speaking, I
Okay,
was
hold on.
seeing.
Hold on. Everybody wants to go.
no, I just wanted to
Pick it
hold
up,
that
Sam.
thought. Yes, yes. I'm sorry, guys. I just wanted to acknowledge the people that are in the chat. We have Nima, Shining Star L. Thanks for coming through. We have Jacqueline Samuel. Thanks for coming through. We have Awa Dia or Awa Dia.
Our,
Okay,
no,
thanks for coming through. And
ja.
we also had Deborah Wilson, Lucy O'Brien. Thanks for coming through.
Thank you,
Sherry Ann
Lucy.
Sylvester.
Es,
And
es,
please, people in the chat, please comment. Um,
Sam,
yes.
Awa is from Senegal. I'm wondering if she's willing to join the conversation a little bit more.
Ah, okay.
Ah,
All right.
put that out there.
Um,
Or did I just do it? I'm
well,
hoping that she'll
okay. Well, let her. She can contact you, and you want to send her the link, and she can come in.
well,
We
I'm
can
using my
accommodate her
phone, so
from. Okay, so work it in
she
and
can
let me
continue in the
know.
chat if she'd like. She can continue in the chat if
Yes,
she'd
because
like.
she would
I'm
bring
using
some
my phone
good.
right now.
I think she might have some good
Perspective.
information for us. Good perspective,
Mm-hmm.
good
Mm-hmm.
perspective, and so on. But
Mm-hmm.
based on your question, Mr. Mark, you were going to answer,
Well,
Doctor.
I was just thinking of as a child, I could see in my parents' bathroom where they had all of the different products lined out. You know, just a Dettol, Glover's main shampoo. I don't know why we had that mess. Dixie Peach Pomade, Bergamot, Afro Sheen, every
Plenty
kind of
bergamot.
that you could, and oh my, New Nile, which was wax to
Mm-hmm.
put on your head, make it nice and shiny. But these were all black products.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Each and every single one was a black product. So my mother could say, I'm supporting black companies. You put all that mess in your Dixie Peach pomade in your head. Bees follow you around when you're outside and watch this stuff melt off your head in the sun. You know? But she would use this stuff. I mean, and I couldn't say anything. To me, it looked terrible because she push her hair down and then spray it with I don't even aqua net, and she got all this shiny red hair all over the place, and it just looked foolish to me. And I wouldn't sit next to her because bees all around her head and all kinds, you know. But she would always say, these are black products. I'm buying from black companies, Posner,
The
you know,
the
and so on.
the idea that blacks don't predate on blacks is, we already know that's not true. We already
Blacks
know
don't
that's
do
not true.
what?
Blacks do predate on blacks. So, for us to think that, simply because they are an organization, they're somewhat, beneficial to us. That's not always true.
But the thing is that those people that make those products, they have decided to capitalize on a weakness within us.
Absolutely.
So it's I mean, you have to realize that in everything, there are going to be people who are going to make profit from somebody's suffering. So the
Absolutely.
question is, I mean, they're black like us. Why are they making these products? Not just because they want money. They too believe that we need to be better than we are in terms of how we
That we
look.
need to change. We
We
need to
need to
change
change,
everything we're
and
born with.
we need to be more. We need to be more Caucasoid. We need to reflect. We need to reflect something different than who we are. So that again, it goes back to the thinking. It's the Bible says, "For lack of knowledge, a people perish." What, as you were talking in the beginning, Karen, what I'm thinking is you can start an organization. You can start in an
Well, there are
organization.
organizations out there. There are
Well,
organizations out
okay,
there to
okay. So this is
actually
my
fuse them.
all right. This is my question because I'm very practical. Why aren't we doing better? Let me tell you something. When I came to Georgia, I met a bunch of brown-skinned black women here, and they're professionals. And I was driving a Toyota Corolla, 1995 Toyota Corolla. This was 2006. And somebody said to me, be careful, because everybody's driving BMWs and stuff. I went to one of their houses for a meeting, and she's an attorney. Beautiful home. But the difference with her, she was a down-to-earth person. She drove a very nice car, so does her husband, but she was very down-to-earth. But the majority of them, they look at me like, I mean, I didn't fit in. And then I call my car Toyota Mercedes, Toyota Corolla Mercedes. That's what I call it. I like nice cars. There's nothing wrong with them, but I'm not going to put myself in debt to impress nobody. That car was paid for 18 months after I bought it. Let me tell you one of the things I want to teach black people. I want to teach black people how to spend money. Seriously, I wish I could be part of an organization and said, listen, I promise you, somebody saw a budget that I did for somebody some years ago. They said, Judith, that's a powerful budget. I don't just make budgets, I live by them. So there are a lot of things that we can do to empower ourselves and to make things better. But at some point, if I didn't say 10 years ago, I said to the Lord, I said, listen, my life is out of balance. I don't like what's going on. And so I said, I need for you to help me change it. Listen, guys, I am not the person I was 10 years ago because I believe in God literally. I'm not into this running around the church and screaming and hollering like an idiot. I don't do that stuff. I take that word and it works for me. So what I'm saying is that, when the church I go to, I went to the women's jail here in Georgia to pray with these young women who are in prison. And the woman that went with me, she's a minister and she's from Tennessee, African-American, full of crap. That's what she is. And she have 40 pounds of makeup on and half weave and half real hair and all this crap. And we go into the prison and she's there telling, oh, you must ask to speak in tongues. And I'm standing up there and I had a tongue to talk to her that day, but I held myself back because it annoyed me. What are you telling these women who are in prison? They speak in their own tongues in there. And I'm sure the tongues ain't nice, but they still speak in there sometimes. But you have to be with people where they are and then encourage them to go someplace else. And what I did one Sunday, one simple thing. I said to them, ladies, let me tell you this. Anybody that tells you that you have to speak in tongues in order to believe in God, the woman is right there, the big pastor lady. I said, anybody that said that to you, just be wary. Because that's not what this is about. And all I said to them, I said, ladies, I said, what I'm led to do is let's sing a simple song. You know what I sang to them? And they joined in and everybody started crying. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. And those women were so engaged because what I did was take them back to their childhood, simple things. But I say that to say this. Some of us use religion to indoctrinate people. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about relationship. And they use religion. Black people do it to each other. Black pastors do it. And we hold Black people down with religion. And they tell them, I'm, you can get a car, you can get a husband, all that crap. That's not what it's all about. So we're getting indoctrinated by whites. As a matter of fact, whites don't have to do it much anymore because the Blacks took over. The Black preachers took it over. And we're making them wealthy and giving them mega churches while they do the white man's job on us. And guess who their friends are? White people. They don't hang with us. They play golf with white people.
Yeah.
Say that again.
You're telling me, Dr. Judith, that my talking in tongues is in vain. I mean, I get them in the church, and shut up.
Listen, let's reel it in now, guys. Let's reel it in.
The truth is this: that while the white slave master administered punishment, he used words from the Bible. He didn't do it to our generation of Black people. Why are we still behaving like the slave master is here? Exactly. Why are we still behaving?
We brought that up in the food conversation, that we're still eating like slaves. We brought it up, and the whole religious thing is a whole other conversation in terms of how we are controlled and some of the things that we continue to practice. I have gone by churches, I don't go to church, period. But where everybody stand there and they do all of this before they go in, and when I don't do it, everybody look at me like if something is wrong. This is over the years. So I'm saying so many of us do things to fit in. And don't think that I'm going off with the mockery of the talking in tongues. But so many of us do these things because we figure it's what's acceptable. This is what everybody else do. This is what everybody else do in the church. This is what you go and you join a line, and preachers have a way of calling you up. How many people inside here today? We have any new people stand up? And then you stand up. This is the last time I went to church. And then the preacher there trying to call me and say, come on down here. Come on down and walk the former line. And then everybody that joined the line, they put their hand on your head and push you down.
Knock you out.
They attempt to do it. And
let's reel it in.
That sounds like
listen, like Mark was saying.
Hold on, Karen is begging to reel it back in, and this is exactly
reel it back in.
About. Yeah, and we are subjecting ourselves to behaviors, what we think are acceptable within this whole power structure, whether it's religion, whether it's how we speak on the job, whether it's how we choose to dress, whether it's what we do with our children's hair, and as you mentioned, our children's skin, because so many times we are trying to fit in to a mold that was already created by someone else for us. And when are we going to build our own mold and follow our own?
When are you going to break this one? When are you going to break this one?
And get ourselves free from that and fall in, which I go back, nobody answer my question. How do we as people of color continue to persevere in our efforts to undo this legacy that caused all of this?
Curtis, here in Georgia some years ago, there's a Black community, apparently quite affluent. And there was a white guy who wanted to move in there. And the Black community said, no, we don't want any white people in here. He went to court to sue that community to let him come in. What I keep saying to Black people, why don't we make our own communities so wonderful that they want to come in? Why do we always have to move into their community?
In the past, we made our own communities and they burned them down.
Listen, I agree. I understand that. But I'm telling you, listen, we're still looking to them for approval. We continually do it. In Georgia here, in where I used to live, mostly white people, their houses are paid for. And you know what they do? They were paying mortgage maybe $300 a month. They renting their house out to Black people from a place called DeKalb County. They can't afford the $1,000 a month they're paying. So in no time, and I'm telling you what I know, they mash up the people's houses. The whole community started going down. Garbage on the street when there was no garbage before. I've seen our people do this filth. And I've told white people in Georgia, you're going to keep moving till you fall off the earth because they keep trying to move away from us. The question to me is, when do we take, and I understand what you said about they burned down our places. Well, you know, all that stuff that happened to us. I understand that. But at the same time, why is it that we continually try to fit in with them? The weave is part of it. The weave is part of it. The color scheme is part of it.
I can only speak, you know, for where I'm from and this country, and I can speak with some authority. When I got here, I moved to a very beautiful place that still is beautiful, Bedford-Stuyvesant in Brooklyn. I lived at 958 Putnam Avenue. The doctor in the neighborhood was my father. There was a doctor across the street. There were lawyers. There were accountants. It was everybody. Everybody owned their home. Everyone owned their home. Okay? What's the first thing that happened? Riot broke out over across Fulton. Oh, Bedford-Stuyvesant, don't want to go there. It's terrible. Don't go. I never had any problem. I had white friends that would come in and out, get off at the Gates Avenue stop on the J train, walk over, never have any problem at all.
Who started complaining? Who started complaining that the place was bad?
If you listen to the 6 o'clock news on Channel 7 in New York, you would think Bedford-Stuyvesant was burning down. That was the Bronx, man. That had nothing to do there. What did black folks start to do? Believe what they were hearing.
That's what I'm saying.
We're moving to Springfield Gardens in Queens. We're moving out to Long Island. We're moving out to Suffolk County.
Yep.
We're moving upstate New York.
Yep.
All of a sudden, now, the house I grew up in, which my parents and my grandparents paid $3,400 for, now sells for almost $11 million.
I know.
$11 million.
Wow.
It's not just us. And it is just us.
All right, well, that sums it up for me.
Karen, do you believe that simply knowing the root of the problem can lead to a better solution? Now that we've pointed it all out, we all know, we all are aware. What else?
Not to sound cliche, but I think knowing it, you can actually do something about it if you can acknowledge that, as Dr. Judith said earlier, acknowledge that the problem exists. And that's when you can do something about it.
But how do we
go around? Pardon me?
How do we effect change to create
it begins with me. It begins with us. It begins with each person. You cannot ask the world to change if you're not willing to change. If we're not willing to reevaluate how we live. If we're not willing to reevaluate how we live, we cannot effect change anywhere. That's the bottom line.
In your opinion, how? Tell us, how do we effect change?
I'm telling you what I practice. Okay? I'm telling you, there's a man across the street when I first moved here. He cut the grass for me. He charged me $45. There was no grass there. First of all, a black guy. There was no grass there. Okay? I was new in the neighborhood. He charged me $45. Now he's leaving me alone and my son here. You would think that he would say, man, come on. There's no grass there. He charged me $45 for brown dirt. I paid him because I'm not stupid. Because I did not move in right away, I asked him to park he has several cars. I asked him to park one of the cars in the driveway just to make sure that, nobody came by and tried to break in or whatever, just to watch out the house arrest. That black man, stopped talking to me after I moved in. Know why? Somebody gave me a lawnmower. My son is 24 years old. He cuts the grass. He stopped talking to me because I did not engage him to cut the grass for me every 2 weeks or whatever.
You cut off the man money.
You mess with his blessing. You
But
mess up
guess
his
Not talk
what?
blessing.
about money.
But guess what happened? I'm always interested in people. I ask people things and they don't think I remember. I remember, and I'm very big on birthdays. I always remember people's birthdays. I keep up with their birth. That's part of my whatever. And so this is over a year now, almost 2 years since we've been here. And I saw him tonight. He was walking up the road back to his house. Cause like I say, he stopped talking to me, but I wave at him anyway because it don't matter to me. So he passed. I was putting the garbage out because my son is at work, and he said to me, "Hi." I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And then I said to him, "How was your birthday?" Now remember, this man has not talked to me in almost 2 years. He stood, he stopped, and I guess he said to himself, "What the blouse and skirt is that? Hold on, I want to remember my birthday." When I said that to him, he stopped and wanted to have long conversation now. And he said, "Oh, I have to come over and talk to you one day." I said, "You have to talk to me a bit, star. It's okay." But I'm bringing that up to say this. I have people to the right of me, to the left of me that I speak to. I don't live here isolated. When my mom died, the lady here to the left of me, she and her husband came over. They brought me a little something and card and whatever, which is very nice of them. The only way I make change every day. I speak to people everywhere I go. I speak to people in Walmart. I speak to people in the hospital. I speak to people in the school. Everywhere I go, I speak to people. And I'm saying all this to say that if you want change, you've got to be the change. I know people because I stop and talk to them. And I talk when I go to Walmart and I see somebody there, especially the people from Ethiopia, I have a great admiration for them. And that's the other thing. Black folks don't really like black folks. I'm sorry. We don't really want to talk to people that
What?
look
Don't
like us.
don't
And I
speak for
love
me. Don't
people.
speak for
Judith,
me. Don't
Judith,
speak
But
for
I
Judith,
me.
love people.
I
You
Judith,
love my
understand?
black people, no
And
matter
I
where they're
love
from. No
people.
matter where they're from.
I
Vance,
have listen.
Vance,
I have friends from
Don't
Czechoslovakia.
speak for
I
me.
have friends from,
Vance,
because I
Oi.
wait a minute. Where you got me now?
Vance.
Hold on.
Give us
Hold
the
on. Hold
recipe for
on.
change. I need to go around the room. Give us the
Hold on.
recipe
I know I'm not
for
trying to cut out anybody, but what I'm saying is you asked me a very powerful question. How do I stop it? I stop it in my world. I speak to people. I say, "Where you from? What language do you speak?" Do you know how excited people get when you ask them where they're from? So if we had a meeting here, I could invite people from just about any country in the world, including Bosnia, because I speak to people. Black folks don't like each other. I'm done.
I
Judith,
love black people. Stop it.
a
But
couple
when
of
it's
years
a
ago.
global pandemic, when it's
Hold
a
on there,
global
hold on there. I'm
pandemic,
coming to you. I'm coming around to you. I'm coming around to you. I'm coming around to you. Affecting this change. Now, you said black people don't like each other. Correct. A lot of us don't. In Trinity, we have a saying. We had a song a couple of years ago with the same lines in it. Where you from? Where you going? Who's your mother? And they say, mind your funky business. That's the yes. We don't like people in the business. So a lot of us very antisocial.
oh god.
Sam, please tell us, how do we affect change?
Wow. First, let me shout out folks in the chat. Pam, Charlene, Amina, sorry. Miles to Infinity or Helen, thanks for joining us, and everyone who we shouted out before, thanks for um, your contribution in the chat. Tonight I did a little bit more listening, as you guys may have realized, because this topic is very, very vast.
Yeah.
It has so many dimensions that it's very, very hard to put
Streamline.
to put it in two shows. And this is our second episode discussing this, and it's really, really interesting. I'm learning so much from everyone. Um, so this is what I'll conclude, because I know we're looking at we're going around the table and giving our final points and things like that. Um, I like where Dr. Judith went, where the change begins with us. And I think part B to that is we need to stop making public announcements. Very recently, I think two sisters in Georgia, they bought a vast amount of land.
Yes.
and the plan is to make it a haven
Yeah.
for us, for black folks, right? They bought this real estate, and then and how I heard about it. In fact, I didn't hear about it in the news as, hey, this is such a beautiful thing. How I heard about it was that there were opposition by white folks in the area who had a problem with some black women buying a piece of property to develop it where black folks can feel safe.
It's like
And
100 acres.
yeah, and it dawned on me, and I said, you know what? Every time we are doing something, we many of us we make an announcement.
Thank you.
So I like part A from where Sister Barnes was coming from and said, you know what? It starts with you. So whatever ideas you have to make a change, you just make that change. Um, it brings me back to one of my songs where I don't want to go back into a whole memory lane, but I have a song called Return, and there's a line that I sort of said it prophetically. And I don't know, sometimes you write a song and you're not sure why that line is in the song, but you go with the storyline of the song and you just put it in there. I don't know why it's in there. But there's a part where I say, instructions are written in your heart, and that is how the enemy would be defeated. Because once the enemy don't know what you're coming with,
Yes, sir.
they don't know how to fight you. So we need to make the change, and we need to stop making announcements.
I
You
like
want
that.
to buy a piece of land and develop it so we could feel safe? Buy it, fix it up, put it together, and when it's ready, hey, we have this over here. Come and check it out. We have services. We have this, we have that. And that is what I think based on our conversation tonight. I like the direction where Karen came from. She gave us all the stats from the research, what's going on in different countries, and we have to conclude, or I have to conclude, that this is really more of a mental issue for us as a people. It's really mental because if you understand that, okay, you're going to take a product to change your likeness so that you can fit in, and you need approval from other people. It's really more than just you. This is where last week, Mark, remember I was spoke about getting a haircut, and then after the guy finished cutting my hair, he put a part in the hair. But why they putting a part in the hair? Now I'm a little boy getting a cut, and they put a part in it. That part signifies that, well, he needs a hairline, but black people don't have hairline. But you put a part in it to mean what? Then we had the Jerry curl craze, and everyone getting the Jerry curl, and we spoke about the ambi cream and the soaps and so on, and we want to be something else. But the good thing is that we're waking up. Conversations like these is important, and we are waking up. We're finally waking up. And having conversations like these, I think it's going to enlighten our audience. It's going to enlighten us because I learned so much from you all tonight. And that is just my 2 cents. I know I went long, but I hope it benefits you guys
Mr.
and everyone
Marchese,
tuning in.
Mr. Marchese,
I'm
tell
gonna
me how.
repeat it for the 900th time. Economics rules your world.
What is it?
Economics rules your world. This
Mm.
begins with economics. You cannot fight a battle from a position of weakness. Okay? If you're walking around with $1 over lunch money, talking about, hey, yeah, I need this, I need that, you have a skin and grin, and wave your hair back and all that. What kind of battle are you going to fight? If you want to stop that, deal with the economics of the situation. The two
How do you
women you
suggest we
spoke
do
of.
that?
Oh, there are a lot of ways. The two women you spoke of, yes, they made an announcement. What scares the white people around them is that they got money and they can do something.
True.
That's what's frightening.
Yeah.
The hell with the announcement.
Yeah.
Oh my God, all of the colors around. What are we going to do, Mildred? But God bless Mildred and she husband. And let them move. Okay? That's what solves the problem. Because the next generation, they don't have to worry about bleaching their face and waving their hair or straightening or any other thing. Because they're not in a position of weakness. Economics is power. As we work on that, as we stop settling, we'll be okay. We will be okay.
Karen, how do we effect change to create a legacy of equality, fairness, and justice?
Well, I agree with the economics part, and I agree with empowerment. How do we get to that point, and how do we sort of transfer that energy, that information to others who are in areas where they are essentially powerless? Answering a question with a question, I don't know how to go about other than through education. How do you empower people who are powerless in these countries?
I read in the comments just now, someone said, which echoes what someone else on the panel said, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. We have to move in the shadows. We have to move in silence, and we have to keep our business to ourselves and stop broadcasting it to the masses. I say stop knocking on people's doors trying to get in if they don't want you in there. We need to build our own buildings, put up our own doors that we can able to walk in, that we can able to open it and say welcome in, and stop trying to keep banging on somebody's door, begging and begging to be let in. When we the one with the gifts, hold on a second. When we the one with the gifts, I'm saying this to the panel. We are at that time where we have to close the show. But I'm asking you all again. This is why I wrapped it up at this point. How do you all feel extending the conversation a little further than this? We have a time limit that we agreed to wrap the show up in, and we have already exceeded that. How do you all feel prolonging the conversation a little further? Or, as we previously discussed, we have to come back with solutions. We have spoken about the problems. We have highlighted the problems. We have all given our own experiences where these problems are concerned, and our own blessings, as our two light-skinned friends on the day can attest to.
Hey, watch out now, Star. No start, no, you know.
Nobody likes, man.
Who am I talk to? Who is he speaking to? Let me give him English. I can give you patois English. I can give you some Spanish.
Mr. Green Eyes and what would you say?
Watch out now.
I was busy getting arrested tonight, so I don't.
Oi.
Okay, so we need to return with solutions. One of the things I think we need on this panel, we need to have a dermatologist. None of us here are experts on that matter. We need to have a dermatologist to really speak out on this issue and let people understand some of the irreversible effects that bleaching is having on their skin.
I will check into that.
We need
Mark is also doing follow-up on that too.
Okay, and we need the doctor to go into some more details in terms of what's going on up here. As to why. We know why we don't do it, but as to why some people feel the need to subject themselves to such physical abuse and subject themselves to such mental abuse in society, in the workplace, and whatnot. You need to get into that some more, doctor, when we come together again. But as we have discussed before, we will bring this conversation to a close right now. So, to all the listeners, Sam, call out their name again, please. I cannot acknowledge them from here. I don't have the list in front of me.
Charlene. Oh my goodness. I mean, she did a change name. Her name is Amina. Good night, Amina. Pam. Pamela. Awa Dio or Diop.
Jop.
Oh, Jap. Okay. Sorry
Mm-hmm.
for butchering your name, Awa. I'm sorry. Maestro
I hope
Infinity.
I'm correct.
Oh, you hope you. Helen.
No, I know her.
Thanks
I know her.
for.
I'm just hoping that I'm correct in the pronunciation.
Okay. Lucy O'Brien, thanks for tuning in. Michael Phillips, that's a buddy of mine, one of my partners in crime. We grew up together. Let's see who else. So there was a couple other. I know Jacqueline. Oh, Nima Shining Star L. Thanks for tuning in. Sherry Ann Sylvester, thanks for tuning in. Jacqueline Samuel and Deborah Wilson. And please subscribe to the channel, guys. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for your comments. And yes, but back to Dr. Henry.
Okay. I'm going to make a command decision on this. There's one important thing we forgot to mention here tonight. Pick up on this, people, and just take it away. Is this colorism thing strictly amongst blacks? Because I see some other things going on in society, and somehow I don't think that we're the only ones that suffer from this. Is colorism strictly amongst black people? What?
No.
I said it last week. It's amongst Caucasians too. It's among the Indians and it's among Chinese, Asians.
Mm-hmm. We
No.
didn't say that.
No. I'm talking from the reverse side. We have all these tanning salons. We don't go in there. That's an issue of colorism also.
Yeah.
I on that.
So before we go, we had a comment from Cheryl Hope. Cheryl Hope, thanks for joining us tonight. And she says, would love to have a dermatologist on because pregnant women are now taking pills to bleach unborn babies.
I'm about to fall out.
I've never heard that one.
I've never heard of that either.
That one shocked me. If it's true, we had to research that one. That is totally crazy if that's true.
My God.
Wow.
And that's why I'm saying it's a pandemic. And if it was any other population, grouping us now, people of color, it would have been prioritized by all these different countries a long time ago. If it was any other population.
But Karen, we have to be the ones that make the alarm. White people don't care what we do to ourselves.
We are doing that. We're doing that. But as you said, we're not in positions of power.
Let us have some input on the ones who are. Well, we have somebody, a public figure right now, who spray himself orange, Mr. Cheetos. We have those who are in the tanning salons. We have those who are trying to be like us. This is also a colorism issue, and we have yet to turn up that rock to see what's hiding under there. Let's talk about that side of the coin.
But it goes back to what I said before. We are a powerful race of people. White people want to be dark. They don't want to be black. They want to be dark, and they want to keep their hair. They don't want our hair, but they want to look darker because they truly feel that darker is better. But then in the white race, they also feel that lighter is better. There's a whole lot of crap. White people have a problem with light and dark also amongst themselves. And the lighter you are in any race, you're considered the cream of the crop.
What is the largest private? What are the largest privately held industries in this? I'm going to make it easy. Biggest industry in the world right now is pornography.
Right.
The biggest part of that industry is interracial porn, i.e., it's called BBC. Porn. I'm not going to get into what BBC is, but
Okay.
that make almost $20 trillion a year.
Mm.
Black men with white women. They've always been afraid to say we're physically superior, but they recognize it. The question I wanted to ask before, I know for my family, the first houses that you bought in your families, how were they purchased? Can anyone answer?
Cash.
I can tell you for mine. Black Americans run to the bank, get turned down. We started a susu, all right? A neighborhood susu. One house purchase at a time. That gave us
Okay.
power.
Okay.
And what
That's
did they
power.
do? What did
That's
they do?
power.
Made it illegal.
That's power. Because we
For
shouldn't talk about it. We shouldn't tell nobody about it.
That's
We
power.
talk too much. You see, people talk about the Bible in the book of Acts. It talks about if your neighbor needs something, your community takes care of them. It is the same idea. The Haitians come and 10 of them live in 4 rooms, 3 rooms. The Asians do it. Everybody does it. And they help the other one get a house. And they build, and that's how they do it. We have a problem seeing the other one go. Mark, what you said, in time gone by, Black people had a greater unity, I believe, than we do now. There was a greater sense of we're going to help. I don't see it anymore. I don't see that because it's like the whole crab in the barrel mentality. I see you reaching up, I'm going to pull you back down. What I want us to understand, white people do those things too. Asians, because as long as we're talking about individuals, you talk about Sam said about Curtis said about the mental state. A lot of what we are doing, every race of people does it. We're more pronounced because of our history of slavery. So everything we do is out there, is broadcasted. Because human beings in general have envy and jealousy. That's part of our issue as human beings. But we seem to have a particular, it's almost a hatred, a self-hatred, that we see one of our own doing well and we lose it. But there was a time in this country and in the islands where we took better care of each other. And I can't explain to you what has happened, except we came to America and the world opened up, whatever, all these different reasons. The fact is that we don't take care of each other. And if we didn't tell people that was a susu, if we never tell them how we did it, they wouldn't know. So you said before, Sam, we need to stop talking about what we're doing. Look at Tyler Perry. Look at Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is killing the white folks in Georgia. He just keeps building and building, and nobody can stop him. But I promise you, he don't talk about everything that he's doing. You know about it after he's done it. So what you just said strikes me because I begged my family when I was in New York, let's buy 10 acres of land. You build your house, I build my house. Everybody you don't have to be right on top of each other. They didn't want to hear from it because I'm a woman. And Judith got too much bright ideas. Well, ain't nothing I can do about that because I'm going to deal with them. I'm going to use some and deal with some of them. But the reality is that if we were to look, I'm very cooperative. I believe in group activity. I believe in unity. But as much as I try with people, because everybody wants their name to be called, I don't care. Let's get the project done. But I'm the one that did it. Who cares? So that's when you talk about how do we get this solved, we get it by getting rid of the crap in our brains about each other and just say, listen, let's do this. And we don't have to tell any.
I remember a time, Judith, when the church was the pillar of the community.
Oh yeah.
That was the meeting place, the meeting of the minds where everything happened, where we find solutions. Done. We find solutions to family problems, all of this. In today's society, if the preacher need a new car, they say, let's gather up a collection.
Yeah, all right.
But then if Sister Mary has an issue with her house, they say, let us pray.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not a joke. It's true. It's sad and true. The church that I used to attend until recently, they passed this from Nigeria, and he said he was gonna have a little group. You see, you talk craziness like that to me, and I see where the door is. I'll use a window, but you ain't gonna tell me no foolishness. And so he wants a special group of church, and if you belong to that group, you pay like maybe 100 and something a month. I must pay you money to belong to your group? You're crazy. So when he asked me why I wasn't attending, I would like to talk to you. You see, that's what I'm saying. Guys, this is what I'm saying. That's what I'm sharing with you. And this stuff freaks me out. That's why stuff makes me angry. Black people need to speak to each other. That pastor at that church, I couldn't care where he came from. I couldn't care less. I met with him. I said, I am not going to belong to that group. You said that I asked for money? I said, yes, you did. No, I didn't. I said, sir, I'm not going to argue with you. You see, he's not my God. I read the Bible for myself. And I tell people, I say, you keep looking for these people to read the Bible and tell you what they see. What they're doing is they're telling you what they know can manipulate you. Read it for yourself. And you can tell them, go sit down someplace. Not sit down someplace. Because the truth is that we're all anointed when we say we belong to him. I'm a minister. Separate from the fact that I'm ordained, I'm a minister. Whoever claims the name of Jesus is a minister. So don't tell me crazy. And then he said to me, what made him angry with me? And you're talking about changing. This is how I change my world. One day at a time, one bit at a time. Because what he wanted, besides my tithe, he wants me to pay extra money. I asked them, because I am who I am. We had a bus there, a van. I said, where's the van? Their parents fix it and send it to Nigeria. I said, well, you go to Nigeria and bring the van back because I ain't helping you buy nothing. I'm not playing with you. Then they decide they want to buy him a car for his birthday. I told them, I said, you know what, you go get a job. Don't play. You need to go get a job. He asked me when I went to the church, he said, Miss Barnes, you have so much. They call me Dr. Judy. Oh, you have so much in you. What are you going to do for the church? I said, well, I'm very good at cleaning. The man looked at me like he lost his mind. I want to clean the church. I said, I'm a servant by heart. I'll clean, I'll greet, and I'll clean. He got, you know what, he called me an underachiever. Go fly a kite without the tail. It's stupid. The thing is that when we start speaking to them and tend to start prostituting God's word, they will have to change. I'm not building you a mega church. I'm not building you a house. I'm not sending you on vacation. And I tell them right to their face, I'm not popular. I don't want to be popular. I want to do this the right way.
Am I wrong? I remember a couple girls coming to my door one time and they knocked and they said they were taking donations for a swimming pool. They needed some donations for a swimming pool. And I said, okay, I'll be right back. I went inside and I brought them a glass of water.
You're too stupid.
Generous contribution to
water. No,
I have a question, folks. Are we wrapping up or are we going for 2 hours? Which one?
You know why I said let's quit. I noticed the tension there at the ending of the conversation. And let me tell you something. Last week, Karen walked away from that meeting very stressed, very, very stressed. And I understand that. I remember years ago, I used to go lecture, so to speak, in the juvenile center in Brooklyn. And the first 2 occasions I went there, I cried all the way home. Because I took on a lot of the stuff that was happening in there with the kids. And it took me days to get rid of that stress. And after doing all of this research, Karen was stressed. She was stressed. And then she didn't get to discuss some of the stuff last week that she still had in her mind. And she did a lot of digging, a lot of researching, a lot of reading. And it's stressful with this information. And I noticed that stress on everyone's face at the end of the meeting tonight when I tried to wrap it up. I realized you all had so much more to give. I saw that the viewers were still commenting on the subject matter.
Yeah, they are.
And this is why I said, let's just keep talking. Let's just go with this. Let it just ride out. And
So Karen, you see, you getting a response.
you know, I'm happy that we can laugh at some of this situation right now, because trust me, if sometimes if you don't laugh, you end up crying, man.
You cry. That's right.
You end up
That's
crying.
right.
This is a stressful situation.
That's right.
And I'm telling you, this colorism, I guess it would fall within that. I remember as a teenager, people see me with my locks today, and you don't realize I started this journey way back in 1976. And this gentleman, I wouldn't even go so far as to call him an uncle, but he was my aunt's boyfriend. He was a contractor working on a bank, and my aunt asked him to give me a job, and he said, "Sure, come on down." And I worked the first day, and at the end of the day, he told me, he said, "Listen, man, at the end of the day, what you can do, you know, tomorrow or Monday, that was a Friday, he said, Monday when you're coming back, walk with a comb." He said, "Before you start work, I need for you to comb that stuff out your hair. And at the end of the day, you can go and sit down across the street. There was a courthouse." He said, "Go sit down by the courthouse, and then you can put them back in. Because I don't want people to, you know, feel that I'm encouraging rastas in the place. So, you know, so when you show up to work here, make sure you comb that out. And in the evening, you can go put it back in." So this was a black man. But this was the mentality of the people, because somehow this offended a lot of people, and it wasn't acceptable, not even on a construction site where you're standing outside in the whole day, in the sun, whole day mixing concrete. Because it was white people on the inside of the bank, and in his mind, he didn't want those white folks to come out and see me, a little rasta head picnic on the ceiling, working. So I had to look presentable for them. So this thing, it cuts deep, and I do understand that we have all been affected by it in one way, shape, or form. And Mark, as you said, today it hit home, and fortunately, it turned out great. We had you here with us. You could have been another statistic on the news.
It could have been going. It could have gone left.
Yeah. That could have gone in a totally different direction. I'm happy to say that it all worked out for you. Maybe your green eyes had something to do with it. I don't know.
I'm fortunate, man, to have had parents like I have, grandparents. But you see, one thing that has always made me happy was going to church with my grandfather. He used to call it hell insurance. He used to look at me and say, "Boy, I really not sure about this, but here's what we're gonna do. You and your brother take $5, put it in poor box, light 2 candles, and let's get out of here before the man start talking." We have paid our hell insurance for the week in case they're all right. That's the way I live my life. I pay my insurance. I pay my insurance. Now I got pulled over tonight. The man asked me, "You have any weapons in the car?" "Oh yes, most certainly." "Can I check your car?" "No, you may not." "What weapons do you have in the car?" "That's none of your business, but here's my permit. So you can take your hand off your gun now." I think that diffused a lot. You can't win an argument from a position of weakness.
No.
You can't. You can't.
Miss Forrester?
Doing all that, "Yes, sir, boss." And
Miss Forrester, I haven't heard from you in a while. Please take us home, wrap up this conversation, so that some of the older folks here can go get their amount of
wrap up, you say. We've been all over the place. But I was listening to an episode from a YouTube show run by Dr. Umar Johnson, and he was talking about Yeah,
I've heard him.
Yes.
Yeah, he was talking about dark skin versus light skin, and how that, the dark skin supremacist developed versus light skin supremacist. And he just suggested that the insularity and fragmentation due to different geographical positions all over the world. That's why this thing developed such. If we had stayed in one place and saw each other as basically equals and stuff like that, I think life would have been very different for us. Yes, we still were very, rough and took over this and took over that, but I don't think racism would have been extended like this. Had we been in our own little corner. But
I beg
that's
to
my
differ.
take on that. I know you beg to differ. I know you do. I know you do.
As Brother Trevor Noah stated, that Europeans who at one time believed that the earth was flat, they got into boats, left their families behind, and decided to sail out into the west to look for spices. Spices to season their food, because they were looking back and saying, baby, I love you, but I can't eat no more of that tasteless food.
It's not work out. It's not work out.
Fall off the earth, but I ain't coming back until I find me some spices for you to season. They went out there in search of spices and discovered a whole lot of different things. And then some of them, in their haste and in their greed, decided, you know what? I'm going to kill the people and take the spices back. So
some say it was never about the spices.
Even if I know, even if we stay in our own corners, racism seen in an individual that caused them to envy or just hate somebody else, I think it would have surfaced its ugly head somewhere, sometime throughout history. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I thank you for joining this panel. Thank you for joining Caribbean Chat. Thanks to all of the listeners who tuned in.
It's Caribbean feedback. Caribbean feedback.
I say Caribbean Chat.
You said Caribbean Chat, yeah.
I think it has to do with my background. I need to change this background. This is my office for Caribbean Chat. I need to change this background for Caribbean feedback. So when I look at myself, I don't mistake and call wrong show. You can correct me on that. Samuel Archer, Mark Chase.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Judith, let me reverse that. These women take this thing personal. Miss Karen Forrester from BantuKreations, Dr. Judith Barnes, our psychoanalyst, Mr. Mark
Your guilt.
Who?
Your guilt. Your guilt. Not showing courtesy to women. Now your guilt. You always I refer to men before women. I don't know where you get that from. Never had no teaching.
Adam
no brought up see. No brought up see.
According to your Bible, Judith, your Bible, Sam, I know the both of you all are avid Bible readers. According to your book, Adam and a rib was taken from Adam to make Eve. So I'm telling you, everything I own, everything you own belongs to me. You just I'm safeguarding it for me because
I know you're hungry, so you must be lightheaded too. Stop it, man. Stop it.
Say you're not raised up, you drag along.
No brought up see at all.
Before we go, quick shout out to Delroy Souden from AmpSocial. We just want to give him a shout out. Hopefully he'll
one
be
of our prominent members.
Yes.
How's he doing?
How's his mom?
He's doing good. You know, I need to give him a call. I don't know how I have to follow up with him on that. I've been a bad friend on that end. I need to touch base with him.
Sam, what's the name of that caller there? Pam? Is it Pam? Pam something?
Yeah, Pamela.
Or she's over there cheering and talking about Get Him Girl. I gotta see what I can do about her. Cheering for these ladies talking about Get Him. I'm gonna see what I can do about her.
Absolutely.
Ladies,
we want to thank everyone in the chat. Thanks for your comments and helping to make the show.
It's always been a pleasure. I ask you all once again as we close, please stay in the back room. We need to do a debriefing when we're done with the show. Thank each and everyone for joining us this weekend. Remember, go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, Caribbean Feedback. Subscribe to the channel, share it on your social media pages, encourage your friends and family to look at the show and to subscribe. Give us a thumbs up and feel free to leave a comment on the channel. We love you guys for joining us. Love you, panelists, for joining us. Thank you all. It's been a plum-pleasing pleasure and a privilege. See you all.